It's time for the Brouhaha Sports Show. Brouhaha Sports with award-winning sports writer Dale McKee and co-host Marshall Wood. Talking sports with the legends of the game and famous sports personalities. Brouhaha! Now to Marshall and Dale with tonight's guest.
Good evening and welcome to the Brouhaha, where the excitement runs wild. Dale, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Is it tonight already?
Oh, it's tonight already.
Okay.
That's right. It's.
Weather can't make up its mind, can it?
No, it can't.
It can't. Okay.
Well, I say it can. I don't know. I think it can. It's been nice, and I think it's decided not to be so nice.
It's kind of like them sports writers when they're voting for the top 4 or 10 or something. They just can't get it right, can they?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to tell you what we're going to talk about tonight, me and you. We may wait till the final segment to do it, but we're going to pick our final. We're going to talk. The CFP, the poll, they over there working their deal right now. Me and you are going to be working ours, and we're going to come out with our top 4, and it's going to be better than theirs.
You think so?
Oh, probably.
Okay.
There's not as many of us to mess it up. There's just 2 of us.
I got you.
How many they got? About 20?
I don't know. They don't have sports writers now. Remember, they've got old coaches, and remember when Jeff Bowers on the show and he explained it to us, and a lot of them are former ADs and
Mississippi State. Cohen, was that his name?
Yeah, no.
He was at Ole Miss. Wasn't he?
No, the president of the University of Mississippi State is over the whole committee.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Mississippi, baby.
So he's
going. The Magnolia State.
I'm sure he'll take care of Ole Miss State and something.
Well, he's going to have his work cut out. Ole Miss might can take care of themselves, but now the other 2, I don't know.
Well, I'm sure he doesn't get a overall vote unless it's, I don't know. I just assume that since he's the chairman of the committee, he probably doesn't vote until he has to break a tie if there's ever such a thing.
Yeah.
What you been up to?
Well, I tell you what, I've just been working and looking and watching a little football.
Yeah, a couple upsets in high school football this past week.
Were they?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I call them upsets. Some people may not. They
What, any particular game?
Any particular game? No, not really.
Okay.
Not really.
I'm looking at your sideline view.
Yeah.
And you mentioned here down to 8 unbeaten teams.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot. But, I mean, unfortunately, some of them, it don't matter whether they're unbeaten or not. Except to them.
Well, just looking at it, I know that 2 or 3, one of those is going to fall for sure.
Well, now, who's 2 and 3?
Ohio State and Michigan. Yeah. One of those will fall here in a couple weeks.
Well, they both may fall.
Well, that's true, but one of them will definitely fall. I'm just saying, I can almost guarantee it.
Let's explain that, how both of them may fall.
Well, they play each other in a couple weeks.
Okay, but only one of them's going to fall that way.
Yeah, I said one of them would fall.
Yeah, but how's the other way?
Well, the other way...
You're not listening to my question.
Well, the other way is if they just got beat, but I just know...
No. What about all the cheating?
Oh, the cheating. You think people take that into
Well, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, I think they do, because I noticed that Georgia, after their win on Florida, they got a lot more votes than they have been, and Michigan got less. Now, I know Michigan had an open date last week, but I'm wondering if there's another factor into that. Like, you know what? If they're going to cheat, I'm going to,
Well, is it against the rules?
It's against the rules if you get caught.
They've been caught. Michigan has been caught.
Supposedly.
Okay.
Supposedly.
Sounds pretty,
all the facts are
sounds pretty damning.
Well, all I know is these teams have known about it for 2 or 3 years. I mean, TCU said that the Ohio State coaches called them and told them what was going on.
They changed their plays and beat the dog stuff out.
Yeah.
But I'm just asking you, Dale, is there a way? Is there a charge? If this is against the rule, will the committee or will the NCAA or somebody, can they say, okay, you've been cheating, you've been stealing these signals, it's against the rules, you can't play for the national championship? Can that happen?
No.
You don't think that'll happen?
There's too much money involved.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if you break the rules or not?
No, I'm just saying this late.
No.
I'm saying this late in the game, it won't even be decided until probably January.
See, my deal is, it's too late because the kids that are on the teams where they cheated won't get punished, but the kids that weren't on the team will be that weren't on this team necessarily be punished.
Well, that's the way the NCAA works. You know, they just the sins of the father go to the son.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, why have rules is what I always say. NCAA does what they want.
But listen, I'm not.
Where are you on this? Do you tolerate that? Would you tolerate?
Well, what I'm saying is, if you know they're doing it, I mean, you have to change. You have to change. I mean, you being. Well, I mean, isn't it almost a game of cheating? You go up there to the line of scrimmage and you bark off, down said hut, and then all of a sudden you go, down said hut, and then somebody jumps off.
That's not against the rules, is it?
Yeah. I know, but it's...
But no. It's not cheating unless it's against the rules, Dale. That's not against the rules, is it?
No.
Okay, so that's not cheating. It's not the same.
Show me in the rules where you can't do this. I want to see it written down somewhere.
Where you can't do what?
Where you can't steal people's signs.
I thought it was a rule.
I'm just saying. I don't know. They're saying it is.
Let's just say.
Listen, I've followed football all these years. I've never heard that.
Let's say. Obviously, it's being reported that a rule has been broken. So let's just say, if it is a rule and it was broken, what would you do?
Well, I don't know. What would the third base coach?
No. We don't talk about baseball.
I'm just talking about a different sport. But in a different sport, the third base coach looks down there and he gives a sign and he tells his batter curveball coming. Is that cheating?
I want you to ask
No,
me.
I'm asking you, is that cheating?
No, it's not. Is it against the rules?
I don't know
the rules of baseball.
I don't know what cheating is.
Okay. If it's against the rules.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's against, this ain't a hard question, Dale. You don't answer questions. Let's see if you can answer this one. If it's against the rules to steal the signals in football, and they broke it, what would you do?
How would you like me to answer that?
I don't care. I know what I would do. What would you do? I can answer that question. What would you do?
Well, I'd like to know your answer.
I'd kick them out.
Why?
Because they cheated. That's why.
Well, what if it was Ole Miss or State or Southern?
Kick them out. They cheated.
Why?
Because they broke the rules, Dale. How hard is that for you to say? You cannot answer this question. You sound like Joe Biden.
I'm not really sure it's against the rules.
But I'm asking
the only rule
if it is against the rules, we haven't a Brouhaha. If it is against the rules, you're not listening to the question. The question is simple. If it's against the rules, and they did it, what would you do?
Well, you would punish them.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
But what I'm saying, the rule they broke is not stealing signs.
Okay.
The rule they broke was supposedly sending that guy into the stadium to. You're not allowed to go scout a team in person. So that would be considered scouting a team in person.
Okay.
Now, I don't know what the penalty for that is, but I'm sure the NCAA and all their written rules, they have a version of that in there, okay?
Whew, we have fun.
We are? Okay.
Yes, sir.
We'll ask Michael Katz what he thinks.
So we think if they broke the rule, we both say this, kick them out.
I didn't say that. I said punish them.
Punish them, whatever the punishment is.
Yeah,
what would your punishment be?
I don't know. I mean, I've never heard of this before.
But you're hearing it now.
Yeah.
What would your punishment be?
I have no idea. I mean, I don't know what a good punishment is.
Disqualify.
Do we want to punish the players for what the coach did or the sins?
You have to.
I would say under NCAA rules, and I'm sure Michigan would do it, they could fire Harbaugh and just get rid of the problem. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is I don't think Michigan wants Harbaugh to go anywhere. Because they all they remember is 7-4 and losing Ohio State 14 times in a row. Well,
let me tell you what I would do because you won't answer the question.
That's true.
Here's what I would do.
Yeah.
If they broke the rule, it ain't that hard, Dale. You just punish them.
What if the infraction is in the book that says? That's what you got to go by. You can't create more.
I'm not saying you don't. I'm not saying you don't. I'm saying you.
That's my argument to you.
So you're not listening to the question. We're creating an environment. Well, we're making some assumptions.
Yeah.
Because we don't know the truth. And I'm just asking you. All I'm asking you is answer the question. You won't do it.
Well, I'm telling you, what the rule says. If you broke a rule, then that's the punishment.
Okay.
I'm sure the NCAA has a punishment for that.
So you would punish them.
Sure. Punishment.
That's all I wanted to hear.
And what's really, but people are wanting to kick them out.
Well, if the rules...
That may not be the rule.
It may not be. And I'm with you 100%. If they didn't break a rule, don't punish them. If they broke a rule,
no,
punish them.
They can break the rule. Okay, they broke the rule, but the punishment's probably in the book.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But people are wanting to kick them out of the playoffs. I don't know if they can or not.
If they can,
yeah,
you can kick them out. That's where I'm at.
If it's in there, yeah, sure.
Hallelujah.
Hey, you got to forfeit every game. Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Okay.
We've come to a conclusion.
We did.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I got the answer I was looking for. You answered. It took me about 6 minutes to get that answer out of you, but you did it. I'm proud of you, Dale. Now, who's our guest tonight?
I have no idea.
You don't have another. We're going to take a break and we'll be back in 30 seconds.
That's fine.
All right. We'll be back in 30 seconds with whoever it is. We'll be back for this one commercial break.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome to the show, Michael. Mike, I'll call you Mike for today. What about what's going on in Oxford? What's the weather up there today?
Surprisingly freezing. It's amazing. It goes from like 85 to like 47 in a span of like 48 hours. I turned on my heater today. I put on a sweatshirt for the first time in a while. So I think summer might finally be over, but I say that it'll probably be like 95 sometime next week. So it's hard to predict, but it's definitely cooled down a bit here.
Yes, like some of these college football games, and true. Mike, just catch us up on the Ole Miss football as much as you can. Tell us about Rebels are off to a great start. A couple great October. What you think about October?
I think when I looked at this schedule for them, I thought anywhere from 10-2 to 6-6 were possible, with the most realistic thing probably being like 8-4 or 7-5, somewhere in there, just because the schedule was really unforgiving. And other than the loss at Alabama, which was just an ugly game, they have really rebounded well. They're going to go perfect in October, and they've won 4 in a row since losing that, and that's not something that they were able to do last year. Last year, when they hit adversity, things just kind of got worse, and we saw them lose, 5 of 6 to end the season, and just not really respond to adversity well. And this team has a different feel in that regard. And I know they were really bummed with how last season ended, and you can tell that they're really trying to not let that happen again. And I think so much of it is with Lane Kiffin teams, we always focus on the offense and the quarterback and all that stuff. But what Pete Golding has done defensively for them is really, I don't know if transformative is over dramatic, but you can tell that this is just a better defensive team. And I know the LSU game wasn't pretty, but no one really shuts down LSU. They score a lot of points on pretty much everybody. And so he's done a really nice job of complementing what we know Ole Miss is going to do offensively. And you put all those things together, and they've won close games this year, and that was something they were unable to do last year as well. It's just everything that didn't work last year is seemingly working right now. And they've got some tough games left on the schedule. A&M's not a walk in the park, and obviously then you've got Georgia and the Egg Bowl at the end of the year. But I think this team realistically has a shot to get to 10 wins, and that was the absolute best case scenario when the season started, at least when I was looking at it.
What game is more important right now for the Rebels? Is it A&M game or Georgia? I mean, if they split, which one should they, I guess, lose?
I mean, I think, and I know that, I know they can't think of it this way, but I think most people are expecting them to lose at Georgia. And that's, they're the 2-time defending national champions. You're playing in Athens. they're not only extremely talented, they're extremely well coached. They don't lose there. That's if you lose that one, I don't think anyone really blames you. I think obviously style points matter, how it looks. But I don't think anybody's going to really hold it against them if they lose that game. I think if you lose to A&M, then it gets a little bit messy because then you're staring down, well, if this happened against A&M, who's very talented, maybe the numbers don't show it, but they've got really good players. They've got those great recruiting classes. If that happened against A&M at home, what is going to happen when you're playing an even more talented team that is extremely well coached on the road? And so I'm not saying it's a must-win this weekend. I mean, if you beat Georgia, then obviously no one cares that you lost to A&M. But if you lose to A&M, I think then people start to think about how this thing closes out. So I think this is a really big game for them. If nothing else, to sort of give yourself a little bit of a cushion for what the last few games, might have in store.
Well, you've been writing sports in different parts of the country, this and that. So I don't know how much you would know about the A&M story, but if A&M doesn't end on a good note, and with Texas and Oklahoma coming into the conference next year, what do you think A&M may do with Jimbo Fisher?
It's part of me is like, if they didn't do it last year, would they do it this year? Because last year they didn't make a bowl game despite having, up to then, I think it was the best recruiting class ever, just in terms of the raw numbers, and it just did not work last year. And so I thought that might be the moment, but at the same time, when you bring in Bobby Petrino to be your offensive coordinator, who is a huge name, you have a really good defense, and honestly, the offense is up 10 points from where it was last year. It's not really, it's not nearly as bad as it was last year. It's right in the middle of the pack. If this is another 6-6, 7-5 team, I think from what it sounds like, and of course this is just outsider reading, what I see online and whatnot, which is always a dangerous gambit, but. I think I know it's a lot of money, and that's the thing that always gets brought up with Jimbo Fisher is that insane buyout. But I think people realize that you're in. I think this is year 6 under him, and they've made it to one New Year's 6 game, I believe, and they just haven't had the consistency, high level consistency they thought they were getting, and so. I honestly think, if they decided they need to go in a different direction, I mean, they will find the money. I think the question is it worth it? And do you have somebody better lined up? And I don't know what that looks like, because Jimbo Fisher was supposed to be the home run. I mean, that was the no-brainer. This was, I don't think anyone saw it going quite like this. And so... again, if they didn't do it last year, it is a little hard to see. But I do think that people are starting to get probably a little bit fed up, and especially with the SEC, expanding and the playoff expanding, they're trying to get themselves into a position where they can be in that top 12. And as of right this second, they're just not there. And so I would not be surprised to see it go either way.
Is Ole Miss the third best team in the SEC right now, in your opinion?
I think so. I mean, Georgia is obviously Georgia, and I'm really curious to see what they do against Missouri this weekend, because it seems like every time we talk about Georgia and they sleepwalk through a couple games a year, and you're like, oh, well, maybe they aren't that good, and then they play a really good team, and they show you, they remind you how good they are. And they've been doing that in recent weeks of just really kind of beating down teams. And so I think they're clearly one. I think Alabama has really kind of found itself. And their offense is starting to look a little bit better. That defense is really, really nasty. It's really good. The question is, are they going to be able to score enough against teams like LSU, which is what they have this weekend as well? That's going to be an interesting one. We know LSU does not play particularly great defense, so it's going to be interesting to see if they can get into a potential shootout with a team like that. But I think that what they've done defensively, and obviously having beaten Ole Miss already, I think that you probably pretty solidly put them at 2, and then it's Ole Miss and LSU, and we saw that one unfold on the field, and I think it's pretty clear that Ole Miss has the edge pretty significantly on defense, and so I think it's fair to say Ole Miss is probably number 3 in the SEC, and again, when you looked at it before the season, I don't know if you would have said that, after 8 games. It's pretty remarkable. Everything other than, obviously the loss in Tuscaloosa, it's really gone about as well as it possibly could have thus far for Ole Miss.
Well, yes, I agree with you on that. Listen, we had a little brouhaha before you came on the show. We were arguing about the Michigan situation, if they needed to be kicked out of the playoffs, if they are charged with what crime they're charged with. What are your thoughts on Michigan, and do you think Harbaugh will be coaching Michigan next year? It's a very it's an odd story, and I think it's not because let's be honest, sign stealing has been going on forever. I mean that's not new. It just seems like allegedly the lengths that were gone through broke the NCAA's rules and whatnot, and it seems like it was a pretty intricate situation going on with the gentleman who's alleged to have been behind this kind of a lower level guy, and I don't know if you can really kick them out of the. I don't know. I think that's kind of a slippery slope, but I do think that there is a very real possibility, and I don't think there's any way Harbaugh ever gets fired or anything like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is when he decides to go back to the NFL, if he thinks that something eventually might be coming, kind of the USC Pete Carroll thing when, you've had shots at the NFL, and obviously Harbaugh's been there before and been very successful. If you start to hear chatter, or maybe you start to realize that you're sick of the college, the college football rules and all that stuff, maybe the NFL starts to sound good again. So I don't know if he'll ever be forced out or anything like that. Again, that's hard for me to see, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's an NFL coach sometime next year. This seems like we always hear every year that he's a candidate for some job. This would make a lot of sense given everything going on. Well, I bet his agent loves that every year, doesn't he? What about is the glitter of Boulder, Colorado kind of wearing off on the people around the country?
Well, I think it's what they did the first couple weeks of the season. You can't take that away from them. They beat TCU, and obviously TCU is a little bit different than it was last year. But that was a really nice win against a ranked team. Then you beat Nebraska, and they got this really good start. But what's happened the last few weeks is, I think, more of at least what I expected them to be. I mean, I didn't think they were going to be a bowl team or anywhere close to it this year, and they're close. I mean, I think they're 4-4, so they've got a shot. The schedule's, I think, pretty tough down the stretch, so they may or may not get there. I think that they've probably exceeded my expectations already, but I think the way it's happened is why people are souring a little bit. When you get off of that hot start and you're the talk of college football, and every college game day is your games and all that stuff, I think there's this expectation that they've got to keep it going, and that is not. I think they're 1-4 in their last 5. They blew that 29-point lead to Stanford. They got beat up by UCLA this past weekend, and their offensive line woes has started to really show up in recent weeks, and so I think the way it's happened has maybe taken a little bit of that shine off. But I think overall, I mean, this a pretty good season for them. I think people maybe got a little bit too excited with the early results, not realizing that they were probably going to come down to earth a little bit, and that's definitely what's happened. But if they end up going to a bowl game or even getting to 5 wins, I think that's a really impressive year for what that program was. But there's no doubt. I think that people, start of the season, Colorado was must watch. They were like the highest rated games of the season when they were playing. The Colorado State game, I think, was just like absurd numbers, and Colorado State's pretty bad too. And so the fact that people were watching everything they did, I don't think that's really the case anymore. And I think that's more of I think that says a lot about how people are sort of seeing how their season's unfolding rather than how it started.
All right, one last question. We don't get a lot of information. Well, we get a lot of information, I guess. But
we just don't know what to do with it.
We just don't know what to do with it. But I know you got some West Coast background. They got some pretty good football teams out there this year. Bo Nix is doing a heck of a job out there, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a USC grad, so I just can't. Every week I'm expecting USC to give up 50 points and hope that USC scores 52.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I've been at, and I had a thrilling 50-49 win over offensive powerhouse Cal over the weekend. So that's I'm feeling really great about everything going forward.
Now, how many Cal get against Auburn? How many Cal get against Auburn?
I think it was like 10.
10?
Yeah.
But they got a pretty good defense. That makes you feel better.
Yeah. SC plays Washington this week, and Washington has Michael Penix, who is tremendous. They don't play great defense either, so that's going to be one of those obscenely high-scoring games that will make defensive football fans probably want to shut off the TV. But, man, Oregon, like you said, Bo Nix is playing great. He's playing well within, what they want him to do. He's not – I think we all remember Auburn Bo Nix as being a guy who just made some head-scratching plays, and he's gotten it coached out of him the last couple of years, and it's really a testament to what they're doing at Oregon. And what they did to Utah this past weekend was pretty shocking. Utah just took down SC at the buzzer in LA the week before, and it was starting to look like that Utah that we've seen that gets hot at the right time and then just kind of bullies everybody. And Oregon just absolutely bodied them in Salt Lake City. So there's I think the best quarterbacks in the country are on the West Coast in Caleb Williams and Bo Nix and Michael Penix, and it's crazy that the Pac. This is the last year of the Pac-12, and you've got one of the most exciting races we've seen in a while. So I guess it's kind of a proper send-off. It kind of makes me sad because I grew up Pac-10, Pac-12 guy, but it's nice to see the West Coast programs get a little bit of shine on their way to the Big Ten and wherever else they're going.
Yes, they're having a phenomenal season. Who's your Heisman people?
I think right now probably Michael Penix would be my guy. I think that this weekend against USC is going to be interesting because you've got Caleb Williams, who won it last year, and I know that SC lost its last 2 before beating Cal. He's still phenomenal. He's still really, really good and probably going to be the number 1 pick in the draft. And so I think that matchup could go a long way. If USC is able to knock off Washington, I think that's number 5 Washington. Maybe that conversation starts to swing a little bit, but I think it's really, without having done I haven't maybe put in as much research into the whole nation as I should, but if I'm just thinking off the top of my head, who are the top 3 players in the country that are Heisman guys? It's the 3 quarterbacks. It's Penix, it's Caleb Williams, and it's Bo Nix. And until someone else somewhere steps up and does something to take that away from them, I would say maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. would probably be a good one too. Ohio State's wide receiver. I'll throw him in there too. He might be the best player in the country, but wide receivers don't generally get the same hype as quarterbacks do. So I would say the 3 quarterbacks, Marvin Harrison Jr. would be my top right now.
Hey, Michael, on that note, it's time. We've run out of time here for this part of our show, and we thank you so much for being with us. And it's just, you do a great job for us, and we appreciate what you bring to the table. Thank you so much.
Absolutely appreciate you guys.
We can hold on for us just a minute. We're going to take a break to hear from one of our sponsors, and Dale and I'll be back with the final segment of tonight's Brouhaha right after this commercial.
Phillips Building Supply in Laurel, your hometown building supply store since 1954. We are locally owned and pride ourselves on helping our customers find exactly what they need. From foundations to roofs to doors and windows, Phillips has it. For tools, hardware, lumber, and plywood, visit Phillips Building Supply.
Welcome back, everybody. Old Michael, he breaks it on down for us, doesn't he?
Oh, he's got great knowledge. He grew up on the West Coast. He started sports writing. The Tupelo Journal, the Northeast Daily News, where he works. They got him from Wyoming. He was a sports writer in Wyoming.
That's where he's.
So that's where he's
come. Funny phone number.
And it's like I told you before the show. When he was a student at USC, he worked for the student newspaper, and their head football coach was a guy named Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin.
Now, is that a strange world?
It is a strange world.
That they meet up.
And both at Ole
Smith.
First down.
You think they knew that back 10 years ago?
They may have been scheming. With Kiffin, I don't guess you ever know, do you?
Yeah, I want to go to Ole Miss because I want to leave USC. Well, you want to leave? We'll just get you on the ramp here and tell you.
Anything else exciting going on out there, Dale?
Trying to think. Had a Sports Hall of Fame added some good people this week. Wide receiver Jimmy Smith played for Jacksonville for a long time. Played for the Cowboys. Paul Elias, the fisherman from Laurel, lives up at Lake Edens now. He was one of them. A guy named Eli Manning played a long time ago. Played quarterback for. Played quarterback at Ole Miss a long time ago.
I thought that was
so that was kind of the key thing. There was Stringfort fella, big track guy from Ole Miss. He was in there too. One of the premier high school coaches in the state, Richard Dewis from Madison Regional Academy, over 1,000 wins.
These are all guys going in?
Yeah.
When will that celebration be, Dale?
It's going to be that first Saturday of August.
Okay.
So
we're quite a ways off yet.
We're quite a ways off. But
you do a good keep up. That's our weekly call. I love that guy.
I love him too.
I love people that don't quit.
You think J-Mar wants to be in the Hall of Fame?
I'd put he's in mine.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's in mine. I love that guy. Dale, I think we're about out of time.
Really?
Yeah, and I hate that because time flies when you're having fun.
Boy, I love that argument we had first of the show.
It wasn't an argument.
It wasn't? Well, I wasn't going to give you a right answer or a wrong answer.
Well, listen, since you brought that up.
Oh, my goodness.
The Michigan football program is now under a second NCAA investigation. For allegedly violating rules related to sign stealing, which prohibit in-person scouting of future opponents. The news broke Thursday in a Yahoo Sports report, then confirmed by the Big Ten Conference. The NCAA bylaw in question is 11.6.1. So if y'all want to look that up and see what that says, you'll know what's fixing to happen to Michigan. But anyway, it was a lot of fun, Dale. I always enjoy it.
I'm just waiting to see when they'll finally even really get serious about talking about it.
They've all got brooms up there holding the rug up and sweeping everything on the rug right now. But now if it was one in Mississippi, they'd be hanging them out to dry. On that note, it's time for us to go. Remember that you can follow us all week on Facebook at our Facebook page, The Brouhaha. See all of our archived shows, or not see them, but you can look at the picture and listen to them on our YouTube channel, The Brouhaha. And Dale and I, we appreciate all you guys join us each week and listen in. But for now, it's time to say goodbye, Dale.
Goodbye, Dale.
And we'll see you next week for more of the Brouhaha. Get us on out of here, Jamie.
You've been listening to the Brouhaha with Dale McKee and Marshall Wood. Heard Tuesday evening, 6 p.m. on WABO. For more of the Brouhaha, follow us during the week on Facebook and WABO.